What's going on, everybody? Back again with another video. This one is about the Robert Brooks situation. The New York State Attorney General's office uh, announces the recusal from the inmate. I'm trying to use the right words for YouTube. The inmate deletion investigation.
Hello, and Happy New Year.
They always put a black face. Anytime stuff is like messed up, they always throw a black person out there to kind of be the cleanup person. You know, I remember the Valdez oil tanker spill. They had all of these black people on the commercials talking about we're out there down in the Gulf cleaning up and all this stuff like that. And I was looking like, man, I didn't even know all these black people work for Exxon. It was crazy. It's like anytime stuff is wrong, they're gonna throw the black representative to take that hit. So you could tell she didn't want to do this. Let's listen.
Earlier today, after much consideration, research, and review, my office decided to recuse itself from the investigation of the correction officers involved in the events preceding the death of Mr. Robert Brooks at Marcy Correctional Facility in Oneida County. This decision is not one that was made lightly, but we believe this is the best course of action to protect the integrity of the investigation and to ensure accountability and justice for Mr. Brooks.
Okay, the problem is that Mr. Brooks is in the afterlife now, and there is no justice or accountability available. The justice and accountability was supposed to be before they actually took this man and beat him to death. So all this talk about justice, accountability, all this nonsense is the same recycle. Obviously she's reading too, you know, you can see her eyes, but it's the same rehashed stuff they always say. I mean, how many of these stories you need to hear? You know, people. You know, basically we're so desensitized at this point that it's kind of like this is gonna be in the media for a little while, and then it's gonna go away like everything else. You know, but what I want to say off this situation is, brothers and sisters out there, man, it's like when you see something like that, I mean, stop adding to the numbers, you know, with the black on black crime. You know, I'm talking to the people that live in the cities, people that are involved in this type of activity, you know, negative activity. If you have all these odds stacked up against you, right? Because they're going to say what they got to say. They put the black lady there, oh, justice, this and that. There's not going to be any justice served. Even if the guys get convicted, first of all, they haven't fired the people yet. See, that's the first gimmick right there, is with this investigation, all that stuff like that. Listen, if you working somewhere, Target or something like that, you get caught stealing, whatever, they fire you right away. See, here, since it's a state job, right, they got to do the gimmick of, oh, investigation. They're probably getting paid, right? They're probably suspended with pay right now. Everybody's lawyering up. There's not going to be any justice at the end of the day. Even if those guys do some time or whatever, they get fired. Where's the justice? This is why it happens over and over again. Right? There is no justice, but there's only lessons that can be learned. And the thing is that black people, and again, I'm talking to a certain type of black people, not all black people. I'm talking to those that, you know, are hurting each other, robbing, stealing, killing from each other. I'm talking to those that participate in gang violence, crimes against each other. It's time to stick together. It's been time to stick together. I mean, what does it take for you to understand that there's already enough forces against black people in general to not realize that you have to stick together and stop tearing each other down. Stop looking at each other with angry looks. Stop hating on each other, not supporting each other, etc., etc.
his family, friends, loved ones, and for all New Yorkers. My office's Division of State Counsel by law represents state agencies in legal matters, including the Department of Corrections and correction officers. My Office of Special Investigation investigates matters where an officer of the law may have caused the death of a civilian. As part of our Office of Special Investigation cases, we do internal conflicts checks. After obtaining video and identifying the officers involved in the incident, we conducted this standard check. 4 of the correction officers under investigation in the Robert Brooks matter are currently defendants in other matters and are being represented by lawyers in the Office of the Attorney General. While we are confident in the firewalls set up between the Division of State Counsel and the Office of Special Investigation, even the possibility or mere appearance of a conflict could tie up a potential prosecution in lengthy legal challenges, or get a potential prosecution outright dismissed. And I will not allow justice to be delayed or denied because of a conflict. Earlier today, we filed papers in Onondaga County Supreme Court under County Law Section 701 to appoint Onondaga County District Attorney William J. Fitzpatrick as a special prosecutor in this matter. When a prosecutor is unable to take a case, County Law Section 701 allows for the appointment of a district attorney in the same judicial department. District Attorney Fitzpatrick has served Onondaga County for over 30 years. His office is well-resourced to handle this complex and large investigation, and I thank him for taking on this case. Additionally, my office's Division of State Counsel will not represent the Department of Correction and/or its officers in this investigation. Again, this decision was made with the utmost respect for the integrity of this investigation, and we will ensure that there will not be any delays. My Office of Special Investigation will hand over all records to the District Attorney's Office immediately. My office has spoken with representatives of Mr. Brooks's family to explain this decision. And I want to take this opportunity, again, to express my sincerest condolences to them during this unimaginable, difficult time. It is critically important that justice is served, and this decision ensures that it will be.
All right, nothing like some positive, tasteful, upbeat YouTube music to come in with the commercial after that. Listen, man, again, this is it's like listening to the same speech over and over, right? We seen, had the Rodney King situation way back in the day. What was that, like 91? Right? 91, man, it's 2024. It's 2025 now. Right? Multiple situations have taken place, right? I'm not trying to hear about like, black people, whatever, black on black crime and all this stuff like that. It's not time to focus on that, right? But the thing is that, again, I feel that there is no justice to be served, right? It doesn't matter. Like, once the person is gone, they're gone. And obviously, the situation will repeat at some point, right? Because this has happened before. This isn't the first time this has happened, right? This just went viral because of the video, the body cam situation. Now, what's weird about that is, again, the guy with the guys wearing body cams, did they know the body cams were on? Like, why would they participate in something like that knowing that it's being recorded? Or was it one of the guys that usually did this type of stuff, beating up these inmates, and then was like, you know what, maybe had some kind of guilty conscience and just went in there and just say, you know what, we all going down, I'm just gonna record, just keep my body cam on. I know there's different angles and stuff like that. Cause that's the first thing I thought. I was like, man, like this guy, because of course the guy recording, he had to know his body cam was on, and it wasn't like he was trying to stop anything either. It was almost like he was just trying to let the world in on something like that goes on. And listen, man, this stuff. In listen, in our community, we already know, especially if you grew up in the hood, things like that. I grew up in the projects. I'm from Staten Island. I grew up in Manus Harbor housing project. Shout out to the harbor, right? And Wu-Tang Clan, of course. But these things been going on for years and years. It's just that the public at large did not believe, like our justice system is blind, right? They always, we do the right thing here in this country. They brush it off, But these things have been going on forever, man. The correction officers beating up inmates, right? Police officers beating up suspects, taking money from suspects, right? And you might say, well, they were hustling. They shouldn't have been doing that and this and that. Don't put yourself in a situation, all that stuff like that. That's not the point, right? Is your job to enforce the law, or is your job to beat, maim, and kill and be the judge and jury and deliverer of judgment on the perpetrator? That's the question, right? If you're a police officer, if you're a traffic officer, your job is to make sure that the traffic laws are obeyed. And when they're not obeyed, right, you're given jurisdiction to write tickets, summons, etc. There is no provision for you to just decide that you're just gonna beat somebody down, or you're just gonna plant evidence on someone. Oh, this guy's a dealer anyway. You know what? Let me just we can't get him, so let me plant something in the car or something like that. That's not part of your job description, right? We don't like this inmate. He's a bad guy. Okay, we're gonna take care of it. We're gonna beat this guy up. And again, if you haven't been around people that have been incarcerated, as they call it in New York, up north, right? But listen, I'm sure this goes on all around the country, man. Alabama, California, wherever. This has been going on for decades and decades and decades. It's just that they never had it on camera. They didn't have it on footage. They didn't have the body cams. All right, I'll tell you a personal story. This happened to my dad when I was very young. So my dad was like a wild dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna paint him, as angel. But again, that's neither here nor there. On this particular day, I don't know how old I was. I want to say I was about 7 years old, something like that. Because it wasn't like I was in a stroller or something. I didn't know what was going on. I was old enough, to whatever, play outside by myself, all that stuff. But as a kid, definitely below 10 years old. And one day, my father and I were walking, and he was known by the police and things like that. Now, my father wasn't like a dealer or nothing like that. He would get in trouble for fighting, things like that, shooting dice, gambling, stuff like that. It wasn't like he was like robbing and stealing, but that was like his thing. He was getting in trouble for fighting in the streets and stuff like that. Drinking and things like that. So one day we were walking to a store, like a little convenience store, and he had an open container. He had a Budweiser. Now, a lot of people, like, if they have an open container, they have that little brown paper bag, and they just sip it out of that. That way, there's no trouble with the police or whatever. But for whatever reason, he had it, and he didn't have the bag. He didn't have the paper bag. And so we're walking to the store, and the cops pull up in the car next to him, and they know him. They said his name, and they know who he was, and they said, hey, they told him, dump, just dump your beer, whatever, don't have an open container, whatever. And he said something to them like, oh man, like, not, like, gotta buy another one or whatever, like that. So anyway, he threw it out, but he had like an attitude. I'm not gonna lie, he had like an attitude, you know. And they got out, two of them. They put him in the car and drove off. And I was just out there by myself. I just kept walking. I knew where to go to the store. They drove off. And they dropped him off, like, I seen him like 10 minutes later. And he had injuries. Like I could tell, like he, like they were fighting, or they beat him up or something. You know what I mean? Like, just roughed him up. Yeah, like dropped them off like up the like couple of blocks, like they drove around, like went some, you know what I mean, and then dropped them off. I never forget that. I just remember that. Like, he didn't say nothing like, oh, they beat me up, like, but I could just tell, he had like little injuries, little scrapes and stuff, and he was mad, of course, and yeah, I just remember that, and it's just like, these things been going on, man, for years and years and years. And it's just a recent thing of, internet and cameras and all this stuff like that. And people are like, oh, wow, we got a problem. So this is what I mean when I say justice will never be served, because it's the only difference now is just on camera. So now they just go through more theatrics and appeasement techniques. Oh, yeah, don't worry, we're doing all we can. Like, that's why, how come you think they put a black lady to say that? You know what I mean? They just want you to know that they just want to make it like, hey, look, your people are it's kind of like when the riots were going on in like the 60s and stuff, they would send the black celebrities out like James Brown and be like, hey guys, cool it now, like, you don't need to do, that's what they would do. Send the Negroes out, the head Negro, to keep those people calm. So anytime something goes wrong like that, they'll try to, get like a, black person. Yeah, you give this speech. They're not trying to listen to us right now. You go out there and hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to take that phone call. I lost my train of thought, but like what I was trying to say, I guess, because I'm just coming off the top of my head as I do a lot of these videos. Maybe I should write something and read just like that lady was just reading. Listen, man, no justice is ever served. Especially when the same thing, just keeps, happening. And what it shows to me in a larger scale is this is what happens when a group of people is always in a situation of a position of weakness as a people, disconnected, disjointed, right? Not unified. This is what happens. You get exploited, right? You're constantly in situations where you're being victimized. Have you ever seen a video, right? Maybe there's one out there somewhere. Maybe it didn't make it to national attention, but how many videos have you seen where you saw black enforcement officers of color or of any color, right? Black or say Asian, anything like that, doing these type of things to a white person? And also, here's more food for thought. What if a video came out, it was like 5 black officers doing that to a white inmate? What do you think would happen? Not only from the legal standpoint, but just, on the streets. You see what I'm saying? When you're constantly in a position of weakness, right? These are the type of things that manifest. it shows the situation, the critical situation, the weakness that exists, right, in the community. See, because when you're in a position of strength, people won't attack you as easily because of the repercussions, right? And you can look at this on a national level. All right? Say a country like China, for all of the rhetoric that the United States, right, politicians, you know, have spoken about China, right? Namely Trump, right, has spoken a lot about China. And even through the years, right, with the, even talking about Putin, right, Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, right, with all the rhetoric that's been spoken through the years, right, those countries have stood the test of time. Why? Because even though they were disliked, hated, they maintain a very strong military. Very strong. People know that China's military is the largest in the world. Not only the manpower, but then they also have the arsenal, the military weapons to back it up. Same with the Russia and the United States, for that matter. So although different countries may not like United States, may not like China, may not like Russia, there's nothing that they can do about it. And they dare not to take a stand against them, right? Unless it's some type of try not to use the word to get demonetized on YouTube, unless it's some type of action, like a secretive action that's done, like, they plant something and something goes off, you know what I'm saying, right? They have to do it like that, right? Like hit and run, so to speak. Guerrilla warfare, so to speak, because of the repercussions. And what this shows me is that it just anytime this happens, it just manifests. It just shows the weakness, right, of black people in the country. That's really the bigger issue. And I'm saying as a whole, right? Of course, there's some that made millions of dollars and all this, and the money doesn't even mean anything, right? The money, but it just shows as a whole. Like I said, show me the video where you see a bunch of black officers anywhere in the country just beating down a white dude, let alone sending them to the afterlife. Where is that? Right? That happens to weak cultures, because strong cultures are not going for that. Weak cultures happens, and that's why you see every now and then another black dude. Let's step in a time machine real quick. Go back to 1992. Rodney King.
It was one of the most publicized trials in U.S. history. Many believed that the videotape was more than enough evidence to convict the 4 Los Angeles police officers. But the all-white jury saw it another way.
We would like to say that this experience has been an extremely difficult and stressful one which we have all agonized over a great deal.
Almost everyone has heard about or seen the videotape beating of California motorist Rodney King. Chattanooga, Maryland Ashford was shocked by the verdict.
It's just unnecessary beating. To me, it was just unnecessary. And I'm surprised they let him go. Oh, I am surprised.
Chris Hunt was also surprised, but he says he trusts the jury.
If the jury found them not guilty, I think they know more than what I know. Based on what I saw, they appeared to be guilty, but apparently the jury found out something more.
Charles Cox wonders why Rodney King didn't take the stand in the trial.
If they'd have put King on the stand and he'd have told his side of it, I might have changed my mind. But I had a feeling that if he didn't take the stand to tell what he was doing and what he had done and what his record was, just being out of prison a few days, that there was something more to it than what we.
Again, notice the guy's explanation. He said if he would have took the stand, he would have told what he was doing, what his record was, and how he'd been out of prison a few days. Again, it's the cops' job is to what? To enforce the law. So if he's breaking a law, you arrest him for whatever his infraction. If it's a parole violation, you arrest him. You take him in peacefully as possible. Everything, listen, everything is written out plainly. You just follow the procedures. I know. At my job, there's procedures. There's an answer for everything, right? If somebody does this, you do that. If this doesn't work, you do that, right? So, okay, he's speeding, whatever he's convicted, whatever it is, convicted felon. Okay, he's speeding. Okay, pull him over speeding. Okay, he has XYZ in the car. He's not supposed to have that. Okay, this guy has to go back to jail. Okay, he has to be arrested. Okay, if he's resisting arrest, okay, we had to do this. Okay, but it's all designed to bring the person in, right, with as little harm possible. So you look at the video and you see them, the officers just basically taking batting practice. That means they overstepped their bounds, but however, they find a magical way to acquit, to lessen, and to basically steer the narrative into, well, if he just complied, or he was a criminal, he just got out of prison. Somehow the focus is off the real criminals in that instance. Right, because the video shows a crime being committed, but it's not by Rodney King. The crime that's being committed is by the officers who are supposed to be serving and protecting the community. In the new video from 2024, right, the corrections officers, right, who represent the state, right, and they're thereby supposed to be representing the people of the state, right, to protect and to serve. They're the ones committing the crime on the video. The ones who they committed the crime against just happened to be an inmate who is incarcerated. All right, so he's serving his time. He's paying for the whatever crime that he did. So he's where he's supposed to be. Right? He's in the position where he's supposed to be. He's doing what he's supposed to do. But those that are supposed to be serving and protecting have taken it upon themselves to commit crimes, right, against the inmate. This has been going on for years and years and years. But the point I'm making is that this is what happens when you, as a group of people, are weak. All right. You've been fooled by the veneer of civilization, the veneer of society, the veneer of structure, right? It's a very thin veil, right? That society, this society we have. Everything looks organized and peaceful. Okay, we go to our jobs, we come back, we spend time with our families, right? Everything seems very peaceful, but underneath the surface of all of that, there's chaos, right? There's a lot of wicked things that take place. There's still the law of the jungle that exists, which is that only the strong survive. This is why every major country in the world has a military, a strong military. And notice that the most prosperous countries in the world have the strongest militaries, or they are allied with the strongest countries that have the strongest militaries. They go hand in hand, right? It's that old principle, might makes right. These are primitive principles, law of the jungle, survival of the fittest. So yes, you are in a modern society where if something you're violated in some type of way, you can call the police and there's a justice system, etc., because of course the society would just fall into utter chaos if it, reverted to back to an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and all that stuff like that. So even though we have laws in place, right, it's very loose fitting, and at any time these things can collapse, and this happens all across the world. If you ever been to a quote unquote third world country, whether you were in the military or you just happen to travel to a country where people are living like really just hand to mouth, right? Where people really have no clothes, not this fake American. I have nothing to wear, right? You have 30 shoes, closet full of shoes. I have nothing to wear, right? The fake hunger. I'm starving, right? That's the fake hunger. I'm talking about you've been to a place people really, really starving. Really have no clothes. Really have no shoes. The society's broken down. Ran by warlords and things like that. Right? Where it's really the strong survive. Right? Where a woman can't just get up in a guy's face because there's no protection. There's no society. There's no laws. So if you get up in somebody's face, they do whatever they want to you. So therefore, you're forced to either get stronger than them somehow, or you gotta respect whatever it is they're doing. That's the law of the jungle. So what it is that when you see a group of people constantly being beat down, constantly being the brunt of abuse, the brunt of jokes, not being taken seriously, right? Always being the tail and not the head, to use a biblical term. That is a surefire sign of just weakness and of being cursed, basically. Constantly taking L's, as they like to say. Constantly taking an L. 1992, taking L's. 2024, taking L's. And I'm sure in 2025, there's going to be more L's taken. Right? It's just the next incident that comes up. Right? The protests. Right? Use the protests as an opportunity to get some new Jordans out of the store, because that's going to really change things. What you got to do to change things is first recognize, look in the mirror and realize that if you're perceived as weak, people will take advantage of you. And what it is that blacks as a whole are perceived as weak worldwide. And so therefore, they're the ones that get taken advantage of. They're the ones that have all the resources in these various countries in Africa, but they don't own their own resources. Foreign countries come in make some kind of deal, right? Deal with air quotes, because the deal is obviously not beneficial to the country and its inhabitants, and tap the resources because you're weak. Foreign entities come and name your country, right? They call it what they want to call it. The name is everything. They put the name there. They call it the Gold Coast or Ivory Coast. They put their label on it. You don't even know what the original names were. Because the people are weak. They've been conquered. And it's okay because every group of people goes through that at one time or another. But you have to wake up at one point and realize this is what's happened. And first thing is you throw off the mental shackles and you realize, hey, we need each other in order to change the situation. You're out there trying to be individual, right? Hey, I'm going to make it. Right? I'm smart. Hey, I'll go to college. Right? I'm going to get this money. You hating on the other brothers and sisters for whatever reason. Not realizing that the bigger issue is that, hey, just like Ben Franklin allegedly said before the American Revolution, he said, hey, we must surely hang together or we'll surely hang separately. And that seems a thing that a lot of inner city brothers and sisters don't really get that in their spirit. And you can see that with business, everything. Everything is like an individual effort, or it's a situation where they link up with somebody from another culture and then complain that they're getting exploited. Right? All of these artists on these record labels, right? All that you thought had so much money, they don't have any money. Right? Last few years has been crazy, right? All the big icons getting torn down. They just happen to be black people, right? The R. Kellys, the Puff Daddies, right? Or Diddies, right? And of course, you brainwashed and celebrate, right? Celebrate the downfall. They tell you Kanye is crazy. You say, oh yeah, he's crazy. Right? You celebrate these things. You don't have any information. You just going off the information that's being given to you. And the thing is, even if using Diddy as an example, even, right, say he did all of these things, right? Look how the focus went from, say, like Epstein, somebody like that, right? Where's the Epstein files? Where's the investigation? What happened with that? They just said, oh, he offed himself. Then they took his girl, put her away somewhere, and that's it. Swept that under the rug. Now everything is about Diddy. So you trying to tell me that's it? The only one? How come you never heard any allegations about Hugh Hefner all these years? You mean to tell me that Playboy empire just ran perfect? There was no situations like that? No assaults, no anything? What I'm telling you is that it's not that these people aren't guilty, right? Nobody's saying, oh, Diddy didn't really do this or that. What I'm telling you is that they pick and choose for whatever reason, right? I'm not in that circle, and I'm not in the elite circle. They pick and choose. You know, some people say it's because he tried to sue the distributor of the liquor and all that stuff like that. It's possible, right? Because you're dealing with heavyweights. But the point I'm making is that they pick and choose who's gonna rise and fall. And it's not people that look like you. So that anytime your so-called idols, you know, your Diddies, people that you really think are on top, they're not really on top. They're just figureheads that's used to control and manipulate your opinions and thoughts. They want you to go vote for some Democrat or something. Oh yeah, they send Diddy out there telling you to go vote. Give him the key to the city. You think they don't? You don't think? How is it that 20, 30 years of allegations could just come out all of a sudden in 1 year? You think they didn't know all this time? Come on. And so then you celebrate like, it's funny, like the diddler and all this kind of stuff like that, right? And the baby oil and all this stuff. And you celebrate. Not really looking into like really what's going on. You know, R. Kelly, like, they put these people before you. You idolize them, and they say things that they're supposed to say. You know, that they give them these scripts. Like, you know what? We need a socially conscious athlete to make the blacks happy. Okay, LeBron, wear a hoodie. You know, right? The Trayvon Martin situation. Okay, LeBron, put this hoodie on, and you know, here we take a picture of you reading a Thurgood Marshall book. You know, yeah, just open up to the front page, the table of contents, look like you've been reading. Right? Everything is orchestrated, but at the end of the day, there's no movement out of it. Right? Yeah, you got a couple of millionaires here, a couple of billionaires there. Right? But everybody's the group as a whole stay in that constant position of weakness. And why do I know it's constantly weak? Because events like this happen. You don't see this happening to like white people, right? Unless it's done by other white people, right? They do it to each other because, historically, of course, you see by World War I, World War II, all the conflicts throughout the last 600 years that basically people just hate each other in general. So, but in this country, you do not see it like that. You'll see black cops doing it to a black guy, black motorist or whatever. But you won't see some black dudes, officers, beating out some white inmate. It had to be something really egregious. That the inmate tried to fight them and then he got beat down. But you won't see anything like a Rodney King situation with a white motorist and just 5 black officers. Because their group is strong. They're not going for it. So to me, instead of mimicking this idea that justice will be served and all this, listen, all that's gonna happen, some people gonna get fired, some people gonna go to jail, some people not going to jail because their involvement was too minimal. They're gonna get the family a big settlement, and that's gonna be that. Until next time. So instead of focusing on that and crying out in front of the thing, because first of all, nobody gets justice by marching. Like that, whoever came up with that's never happened in the history of the world. So what you have to do is first you have to unite as a people, be on the same page and stay united. Right? Take a page out of the Jewish playbook. Support each other, help each other. You have somebody talented in community, help them, don't hate on them. Don't be like, you smart, like you hating on it. You don't want them to make it. You live in the hood. How come there's no black mechanics, auto mechanics in your neighborhood? Why you gotta go to somebody outside of your culture? I see our Spanish brothers and sisters, man. They'll have an auto shop. They had the shop with the rims, all of that. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You got to stick together. You brainwashed out here wearing these different colors, the same as Republican, Democrat. Y'all going after each other, and for what? Y'all knocking off all the talent. Y'all making all this money for these record labels, these executives that y'all seen all the videos y'all know about. All of these executives making sure their families, their grandkids, their legacies are solidified. and then you out here hating on each other, and what it does is it weakens everyone. And like I said, when a group of people is weak, that's when the exploitation takes place. And that will continue to happen until you stop being weak as a group. That's the real answer. That's the real answer. Stop being weak as a group. But as long as you participate in the things that are making you weak, these things will continue to happen. And then you're going to have a little protests, right? Just think. That's what, all, Black Lives Matter is going to come out. They going to march. Somebody going to march. Somebody get on CNN. Stephen Smith going to say what he got to say. Right? I'm going to say what I got to say. Right? But nobody's going to come at it like I'm coming at it. Because I'm coming with the real solution. The real solution always to be strong. It's just nature. How come you think lions don't get attacked? Because they're the top. The only time a lion get attacked is if it's sick or something, something like that. If it gets caught slipping, it's alone. Maybe a pack of hyenas, something like that. But they're at the top. So when you're at the bottom, that's when the exploitation starts. Any country is like that. It's not just a black white thing. It's just in this country, we've been programmed with the race hustle. We've been programmed with that. It's really just a human condition, because you could go to any country. That's why I urge people to travel, man, so you could see that what it's like all across the world. Because you had the same thing. You had different Indians, right? They had the caste system. They're speaking the same language, but it's a caste system. They look down on certain group of people because the thing is, we've been brainwashed to think like, oh, if you're respectable, if you carry yourself a certain way, people will like you. No, people will not like you. That's a myth. That old turn the other cheek, that's a myth. That's a myth. People will not like you. You should have learned that from 1960s in the marching and all that stuff like that. The Martin Luther King, the old black and white videos. You could wear suits, be dignified, turn the other cheek. People will not like you. They're still calling you the N-word. People will not like you. What you need is the respect. That's why they had that saying, right? They rather be feared than loved. You need the respect. But you can't win You can't win by trying to be individual, right? A gang will never win. It's too small. You need everybody in the community. You need the community to be unified. You need every single person in your community. Because God has placed different gifts all throughout. You have some people that can sing, right? Some people that can draw. Some people that are good with their hands. Some people that are going to be carpenters. Somebody got to do the plumbing, right? Somebody's going to be the auto mechanic, the motorcycle mechanic. Somebody's going to be a doctor. You need all of those people. What does it look like if, say, all the mechanics are hating on the doctors? Well, what are you going to do when you get sick? Now you got to go outside of your community, somebody else. If you look at other communities like Asians, right, Indians, when they go to the doctor, they find an Asian doctor to go to, Indian doctor. Right, somebody understand their culture, their diet, their customs, somebody they trust, possibly a family, a relative or somebody like that. It's like how long is it going to take you to understand the power of being unified? Like I said, there's a sad situation. There's nothing we could do to bring Mr. Brooks back. That video was crazy. Like, I'm not showing it because everybody's seen it already and you could just look it up. Plus, I don't want to get YouTube to block the video. But what I'm saying is that how many times you need this to happen before you understand what the real problem is? The real problem is the weakness. The overall weakness. When people are weak, they get exploited. When animals are weak, they get exploited. What happens to the gazelle, right? When the lions are hunting or the cheetahs are hunting, right? They find that straggling gazelle, right? The one with the hurt leg or whatever, and they tear him up. They don't say, hey, he's hurt. Let's take care of him. That's what I'm saying. See, we've been taught these things in society. They go against the nature. They go against the laws of nature. Hey, we're gonna take care of them. We feel sorry for them. So you've been fed this nonsense with the Democrats. Hey, we'll take care of you. Don't worry, get on welfare. We'll take care of you. We love you guys. We understand. And y'all eat it up. And then wonder why you still in bad situation. All right, let me finish this up. I don't want to go too long. Play this clip.
Seen on that tape.
But some folks say the acquittal makes police think they are above the law.
When they do something, it seems like it's okay, with the law. As long as they got on their blue uniform, it's okay.
City Councilman Yusef Hakeem worries that the decision will drive yet another wedge between the police and the black community.
And if we're to move forward together as a community, as a nation, we have to do those things that bring about fairness and justice. And I do not believe this decision is one that brings us together.
Kimberly Blake, News Center 12.
So that was wild. So again, I've hammered the point home. You've never seen in history, any real justice be brought on by constant marching and things of that nature. You might get some temporary appeasements, some legislation, right? But the legislation doesn't really stop people from being people, right? Because they're gonna follow the in other words, if they have the opportunity, they're basically gonna follow the laws of the jungle, and that's what you see people doing. Only way you can really stop these kind of things is that you have to be strong as a person, strong as a group, to the point where you're respected enough to where the other animals, you won't do such abominable things to you. So that's basically it in a nutshell. So rest in peace to Robert Brooks. Get in the comments below. Let me hear what you think. And I'll be back with another one.